One, two. 1, 2. Yes, crew. Let me just check that we are live and that everything is okay. And you'll just have to bear with me because I've got a slight bit of a cold. So every now and again, I might just need to blow my nose. Yeah, so I think I've got a little bit of a head cold coming on at the moment, so you'll just have to bear with me. So, welcome back to another stream. This is something a little bit different. This is kind of me coming live, owning up, and just basically saying that I got it wrong. So, for those of you who may or may not be aware, I did a stream not too long ago, and in that stream, I gave a little bit of a mention of a piece of DJ equipment from Pioneer or Alpha Theatre, as they go by now. And there was a picture going around of this new potential standalone controller that essentially was going to be launching and coming out, and a few people was saying that, you know, like it's a fake picture, it's not real, it's just, you know, it's just fake, it's just, you know, it's not gonna happen. Some people thought it was real. Then another picture got leaked, and it looked more like it kind of was like this realistic picture. And then basically Alpha Theatre announced these pictures and these leaks and these rumours were, as a matter of fact, true, and they have launched this Alpha Theatre Pioneer XDJ-AZ, which is supposed to be the kind of like the new XZ. So if you've not seen the XZ, which I'm sure you will have by now, it's quite a few years old. It was a really good piece of equipment for its time. It was like the ultimate. It was really good, big 4-channel, just a really massive all-in-one system. But it lacked on a couple of things that people really wanted to see, and I think some of these features have now been put on to this new one. So what we're going to do is we're going to watch this video from Alpha Theatre that is like an overview of the controller itself. So there might be a guy who talks. I've not watched this yet. I've watched a review from the Digital DJ Tips. I like watching this guy. He's really good. I watch him for a lot of DJ related videos, and they always get like the new equipment early, and they get to sort of like review it and stuff. And you know, he's always very clear with what he's saying, and he makes things very easy to understand. So I've seen a lot of people like leaving comments and writing posts saying that like Den and DJ have already like been, you know, done a lot of these features on their Prime 4. And don't get me wrong, I don't hate the Prime 4, but the Denon Prime to me, and this is gonna sound like a really weird example, but you go to like an audio shop and you can buy speakers, right? And they're really good, you know, they feel good, they look good quality speakers. And then you can go to like a foreign shop that sells a little bit of everything, right? And you know, they'll sell like tools and air fresheners for cars, and they'll sell just a whole range of different things. And normally somewhere near the front of the store, they'll have these like really big Bluetooth speakers on offer, and they'll be about 60 quid, and they look like something from outer space, and the green and the blue. And the Prime and the Denon to me always kind of feels a little bit like one of them, and it certainly looks like it. It looks like a sort of from out of space gadget that kind of looks like Poundlandy-ish, and they always kind of look to me like like something like you would buy from like a stall at the fairground, you know, where you'd get like your BB guns and your little light up things. Like the colours and the way it's all built and just how kind of like plasticky it feels always kind of gives me that vibe. So no offense to Denon, I don't hate the Denon, but I don't love it. I am unfortunately a Pioneer kind of person. So what we're going to do is that we're going to jump into this 9 minutes and 20 seconds video and see what Alpha Theatre are saying about their new sort of all-in-one DJ system themselves. I've heard it from Digital DJ Tips. I want to hear from Alpha Theatre themselves. So let's go.
In November of 2019, Pioneer DJ released the XDJ-AZ, the all-in-one DJ system.
Yeah, so this was the original one that came out back in 2019. I've been very fortunate that on a couple of occasions I've had the ability to be able to play on one of these, and I've got to say they are a really strong, great bit of equipment. I've done a few gigs on them over the past sort of 2 to 3 years that I've been kind of DJing in clubs, and they've always been really good to mix on. I do like the size of it. I do like that it just feels really big, and it feels like you're just mixing on something kind of like really massive.
That inherited the industry club standard layout of the time into a single unit. But today, we'll be introducing to you.
Yeah, so basically they take like the industry club standard CDJs, the normal Pioneer mixers, and they kind of condemn it into kind of, they combined it into one unit. So essentially, it's like you could go out and buy 2 CDJs and you could go and buy a mixer, but then for a little bit cheaper, you can essentially get it as like an all-in-one, and essentially like everything is just kind of being like molded together. So the kind of CDJ section and the mixer section have kind of been like molded together, and then they've just sort of added this screen, which is absolutely amazing. I think it's really, really good, and I think especially for like, you know, if you're a mobile DJ, you do a lot of weddings, you do a lot of birthday parties, like, you know, you can just put that one unit into a flight case and carry it, whereas if you have the CDJs and the mixer, like that is essentially 3 separate little boxes that you have to carry. And I think having the all-in-one, you know, as a mobile DJ, I think certainly is a really cool way of, you know, having something to take to kind of like a mobile gig, because you get the feel that you're playing on like those bigger kind of CDJs, but you're still condemned into a controller that is still heavy, but I would still say easy to transport.
A significant evolution to the features and usability from what came before. Hello everyone, I'm Priyon Joni, and I'm here to show you the brand new Alpha Theta XDJ-AZ all-in-one DJ system. Just like its predecessor.
I wonder why they called it AZ, and why they didn't call it like the XZ Mark II or the XZ2 or the XZ 2.0 or I don't know. I mean, why they went with AZ, like, I don't know.
The XDJ-AZ was designed by the same engineers and developers that brought you 30 years of Pioneer DJ products. The XDJ-AZ is designed for the DJ or venue looking for the ultimate all-in-one DJ experience. As a permanent fixture for home setups, clubs, or event spaces, or for mobile DJs who take their show on the road, this single unit provides a professional performance environment that elevates your DJ sets wherever you play. The XDJ-AZ sports a 4-channel layout with a brand new 10.1-inch capacitive touchscreen display.
So that's really good that it's a 10.1, and that it is also that you know, touch screen as well. You know, I think having a touch screen nowadays is like, you know, we have it on mobiles. We now have like laptops that can essentially be like a tablet and a laptop in one. So why not essentially have sort of like DJ equipment that kind of in sense kind of becomes its own tablet and has its own screen, where you can kind of do sort of like, you know, where you could like you know, essentially do like different things. And I'd be really interested to see how far sort of like the alpha sort of theatre pioneer will go in the future with these touch screens. I mean, sort of you know, if you kind of compare it to mobiles, you know, you kind of got like the mobiles where you kind of did everything by pressing buttons and it did things on the screen. And that was kind of what happened in like the earlier Pioneer XDJ-RXs. You know, you move knobs and you press buttons and it would, you know, it would do things on the screen. And now we've kind of got to this kind of like state where now, you know, we can touch the screens, and that was kind of like with the phone. So we had the phones where you'd press the buttons and then you would touch the screen, and then you know, you'd press buttons, it would move things on the screen, and then they would introduce these phones where you could touch the screens. And now if we look at phones, like there is so many different things that we can do with our phones. So I'm wondering how far these screens will go in the future. Will they become like a full-on tablet where you could essentially like open Facebook or something, for example, you know, on the XDJ system itself? You know, will the screen become like a full-blown tablet where you know, where you can browse the internet, so you've got a track playing and you can just have a quick browse of Facebook or something like that? Would it be necessary? Would it be needed? Maybe there could be like a whole way where you could like maybe plug like a webcam into the back of the DJ system, and maybe there's a whole, you know, a whole thing for going live in the future. Who knows? But they're definitely getting clever with the screens.
If you're familiar with the XDJ-XZ, you'll feel right at home with the XDJ-AZ. The layout of the XDJ-AZ is directly inherited from the industry club standard flagships, the CDJ-3000 and the DJM-A9. The full-size jog wheels have been updated to feel just like those found on the CDJ-3000, including a crisp on-jog display.
Yeah, so they're really trying to make it feel like, so when you go onto these, you do really feel like you are on the CDJs. Like the jog wheel feels the same, the buttons feel the same, the layout is similar. So if you've been on a pair of CDJs and a DJM-900, for example, like you will really feel at home coming onto one of these, which is good.
Pitch bending and scratching will be smoother and quieter than before. The mixer section has also been updated to reflect the intuitive layout of the DJM-A9, which include the independent channel select buttons for the beat effects. The effects panel can also be swiped on screen in and out. So when you master the XDJ-AZ, you'll be familiar with the way industry standard equipment works and feels, making it much easier to perform your best in the clubs.
So a lot of people will complain about this because a lot of like hardcore DJs, I'm gonna say, so people that have kind of like DJ'd for a lot of
the built-in wide
who maybe did it the original way on vinyl will be like, you know, things are getting too easy, you know, they're making it easier for us to perform. And I agree and I kind of disagree. So I disagree in the sense that when we DJ'd on vinyl, that was the basic DJing, if that makes sense. It, you know, it was you know, in sense it was the raw, it was the core way to do it. But equipment back then wasn't at its best, you know, like when we first like got you know, televisions, you know, and we could only watch like channel 1 up to channel 5, or I think at one point there was only like BBC One and ITV. And now, you know, there's over, you know, there's hundreds of channels. So I think, you know, like the stuff that we can do now is not necessarily like us not being DJs. anybody who uses these buttons and does this and does that is not necessarily not being a DJ, just because they're not basically beat matching, or they're using screens to help us, to help get the beats in time. I think it's more just the fact that DJing itself has moved on and it's progressed over the years, and what we can do now, we can do so many different groundbreaking things that we couldn't do back then. Back then, literally all we could do was put 2 records on and get the 2 records in time, which was a groundbreaking thing. But them days are over. Now we can add effects, we can add echoes, we can do this, we can do that. We can press buttons on the screen that's going to make our mixes do different things. And that's just the way that DJing has progressed.
Wi-Fi of the XDJ-AZ allows you to directly access your cloud-based Rekordbox library with Cloud Direct Play, as well.
So this is absolutely wicked. So you can essentially have a cloud on device that you can literally sign into. So like if you have like, I don't know, like a Dropbox full of music, thing, absolutely.
Well as stream music with Streaming Direct Play with support from Beatport Streaming. Cloud Direct Play lets you use the most up-to-date version of your playlist and performance data like hot queue information without exporting to a USB drive. And don't forget, you can add a cloud option to any tier of the Rekordbox plans. Beatport Streaming allows you to play tracks from Beatport's vast dance music library and latest genre-specific playlists. You'll even get analysis data like waveform, BPM, and grid info, making it easy to mix diverse music into your sets. In addition to playing music from a USB drive, the XDJ-AZ allows you to DJ by connecting your Mac, PC, or mobile device. The XDJ-AZ both supports and acts as a hardware unlock device for Rekordbox, available at launch, and Serato DJ Pro in December 2024. Rekordbox, you can use it both in performance mode as well as link export mode. Link export mode allows your unit to access your entire Rekordbox library from your computer without the need to export to a USB drive. And it can even be used in your network over Wi-Fi. In this mode, you can organize your songs and playlists on your computer and test them out on the unit before exporting to a USB drive. Link export mode works with Wi-Fi for iOS and Android devices, and Wi-Fi or USB for Windows and Mac. The XDJ-AZ's new 10.1-inch capacitive touchscreen doesn't just give you more visual information, but it makes everything easier to control as well. You can view up to 13 listed tracks at once, which is an improvement from the 8 you can view on the XDJ-AZ's smaller display. It now has Playlist Bank, which allows you to store and quickly access 4 of your favorite playlists. For enhanced headphone.
That's pretty cool. I think that you can, if you, for example, like you play a lot of gigs, like when I play a lot of gigs, I have a folder, it's called Bounce New Bangers, and then I have another playlist that is called Bounce, just Bounce. They've got like literally like my whole entire Bounce collection, more or less in them folders, and they're just like, if I'm playing, a set and the set I planned, I just feel like actually I want to play a different track. Like I go into them folders, or sometimes like if I'm playing somewhere and I haven't like really necessarily put a set together, and I'm just winging it, I go into them folders because it's literally got everything. So to be able to save them like as your favorites is like a really cool thing, especially like if you've got playlists and you know yourself that you're going to be going into them playlists quite often. You don't want to go and scroll down past 5 or 10 different playlists just to get to that one playlist. If it's in just like a favorites, you just know where you can just go straight and bang, you're in it.
Monitoring, the XDJ-AZ has 2 link queue features, Touch Preview and Touch Queue. Touch Preview allows you to preview the tracks in a playlist in your headphones without the need to load them simply by touching and scrubbing the waveform. Touch Queue.
Now that is something that I am really, really a big fan of. So you're thinking like, what track are you going to play next? The fact that you can actually have a little preview of that track in your headphones before you load it to the deck is absolutely fantastic. Or sometimes you might be a couple of tracks ahead in your mind, and you might have like the next track loaded that you're going to play next, but then you're thinking what's going to be the one after. And the fact that you can have a little preview in your headphones, so like the audience, the people you're playing to don't have to hear it, is, I think it's a groundbreaking thing, because it's a really good way, just especially as a DJ, just to kind of be one step ahead, and really know that what you're going to bring in is going to be the right track to bring in next. Because you might think like the title of it, and and the artist, like, oh yeah, this will be a good one to bring in, but it might not sound good, might not work. So the fact that you can literally like have a little preview and know that it's right, and then if it's not right, you don't have to, you haven't already loaded it, you're not already mixing it in. You literally like have had that little preview, and it just gives you that sort of like definite answer of, do I want to bring this track in, yes or no?
Queue allows you to preview in your headphones upcoming sections of a loaded track. The AZ also displays the status,
and that is pretty cool as well. So you're playing a track, and then you can't remember, for example, like what the second drop sounds like. So for example, like I play a lot of bounce tracks, but sometimes I play at like some very commercial nights, and I play a lot of bounce remixes of commercial tracks, and sometimes the second drop might be a little bit of a heavier drop. And if I'm playing somewhere very, very commercial, even if it's a commercial remix, that hard drop could put people off, and I could essentially kill that dance floor. So if I can listen, and then if I know, all right, the drop's too hard, I can mix out of the track early and bring the next track in, so it sounds just, I guess, in a way, even more commercial.
Of a selected performance pad and beat effect settings simultaneously. On the XDJ-AZ, you now have 2 options for 4-deck playback. Just like on the XDJ-XZ, you can integrate 2 additional CDJs through Pro DJ Link, giving you tactile control of all 4 decks. But now you can also control the AZ's 3rd and 4th deck without the need for additional CDJs.
So it's good that you can still plug like additional CDJs, and I think essentially, I think especially with this unit now, because what it's just about to tell us is they've got the additional need, like an extra 2 channels, without having to plug the CDJs in. So I think, especially being able to plug the vinyl turntables in, there's people that still like to mix on vinyl, and there's people that might have a record collection and they still want to bring a record in, or for example, they might have really rare white label tuner and they haven't got it anywhere digital, but they want to. CDJs in, but for plugging vinyl in, absolutely.
Using the independent deck select buttons above the jogs. You also have 2-deck and 4-deck view on the display. Thanks to the XDJ-AZ's integrated SonicLink transmitter, you can now enjoy ultra-low latency wireless monitoring with the HDJ F10 wireless professional DJ headphone.
So it's a really good idea. And it, like a mobile DJ. I suppose like bring some wired headphones with you, like just in case. Like, because you could be midway through a set, the headphones might disconnect. You never know. And the only other really thing is I think it would have been a lot better if they could have integrated the fact that it would work with like just like pretty much any Bluetooth headphones, because you pay all this money to buy this equipment, and then you've got to pay however much these headphones are going to be. Whereas, I think, if you can just use any Bluetooth headphone, bearing in mind, which is to be expected, the sound quality would, differ. If you're using 30 quid B&M Bluetooth headphones, they're not going to sound as good as these. But I think, for people on a little bit more of a budget, but still want to have that wireless sort of feature, I think, that would have been a really cool thing. But at the moment, I think it only works with the HD 10s. So we'll have to see.
Phones. With a single press of a button, you can pair the AZ with the headphones and enjoy cable-free DJing, moving freely around the DJ booth. The audio is transmitted 20 times faster than the common Bluetooth codec, giving you real-time audio response for when you're clicking a hot cue or scratching on the jog wheels.
Yeah, I'm really glad that's good, because normally, like, if you before it corresponds, so it's really hard. they give you that little bit of a delay, and you know, you might think it's only 2 seconds, but in music 2 seconds is a lot of time, and it can really throw you off.
If you have an XDJ-AZ, you can purchase the HDJ F10 without the transmitter since one is already built in. Sound quality of the XDJ-AZ has also been upgraded over its predecessor. By incorporating a 32-bit digital to analog, analog to digital converter from ESS technology, sound quality has been significantly enhanced to create clear and dynamic audio that makes it suitable for a large venue as well as nightclubs. The 3-band Master EQ also allows you to tweak the overall output and fine-tune to the venue. The unit also features a dedicated button for mixer setting.
I like that there's kind of like more than one master output, so you can really fine-tune like the mid-highs and kind of like the lows of your whole master. I think that works really well, because sometimes like it's not so much that like the whole sound is too loud. Sometimes like it's just the bass sounds a bit too heavy. So just being able to adjust that without you know, just turning the whole thing down, I think is like a really cool feature, and it'll do it just on the overall sound and not just necessarily, you know, affecting one track, you know. I think that's really good.
It is that easy to make good beats with this kit.
The XDJ-AZ now has additional pad modes along with pad info display to show the pad modes and values. Gate Q now allows you to trigger hot cues momentarily when your track is paused. It's similar to the gated hot cue setting in DJ software like Rekordbox and Performance.
Yeah, so I think it sort of skipped a little bit of it there, but essentially you can you can adjust a lot of your settings on the screen. I think that is a really cool idea. However, one thing I'm not too keen on is that they've got rid of just above the crossfader. There's like on my RX, there's a little switch, and it'll turn the crossfader on and off. And I really like having that there, because it's just above the crossfader. It turns it on and off. It's right next to the button. And now if I want to turn the crossfader off and back on, I'm going to have to go all the way into a settings menu and do it on there and kind of like dabble with the screen, when essentially before I could just flick a switch and it would be done. I do like the fact of like having some of the settings on the screen.
Mode and Serato DJ Pro's default setting for hot cues. Now you have the option for when you're playing in standalone. You now have a second pad mode for additional beat durations of beat loop under beat loop 2. Key shift now lets you shift the keys of your tracks. And beat jump 2 also gives you additional beat durations for beat jump. Similar to the Opus Quad, the XDJ-AZ has Smart Cue, a feature mode where when the hot cue overwrites the cue. This resets the current cue to the position of whatever last hot cue is triggered. So right now, my current cue is at the beginning of a track. But if I click another hot cue and click current cue, it goes back to the beginning of the track. Now with Smart Cue on, anytime I trigger a hot cue, it will overwrite the current cue to that last triggered hot cue. Right now it's at the beginning of the track. Now I'm going to hit hot cue 2. Now my cue is at hot cue 2.
Really good. So when you load a track, like on my decks at the moment, and you've got a hot cue, it will automatically put the track at the beginning of the track. Now, sometimes I like to start a track on the hot cue if I'm gonna mix in this track and I'm gonna do something a bit different. And it's really annoying that like you press that hot cue and then you press Q and it goes like straight back to the beginning of the track. Like, because I would really like to, in all fairness, like I prefer pressing the Q button to a hot cue. And I think, like, you know, I like to sometimes just tap the Q button a couple of times. So being able to just tap the hot cue once, press the Q, and it goes to where that hot cue is. Like, I think that.
Same with hot cue 3. Right there. Additional features on the XDJ-AZ include a push-to-talk option for each of the 2 microphone channels, which was inherited from the DJM A9. So with this button, I can tap it to turn it on, or when it's off, I can hold it down for a momentary on. See, right now it's on, it's blinking, and when I let go, it shuts off. The XDJ-AZ now also...
I kind of like that. It's kind of just like talk over, but you have to hold a button instead of having it like permanently on talk over. So I kind of like it because you want to talk over, but you don't want to like do it all the time. So like you just hold the button down, and essentially it will allow you to do it. Or maybe, for example, you're not having really the microphone is not really a big part of the set, but there might just be that little moment where you just, you know, where you just want to just say a couple of words for whatever reason. I think it's really, really good that there is just basically that option where you can just briefly hold it down, say what you want to say, and then the mic's back off again. I think it's really made too much of a difference. Like, you know, flicking the switch was not exactly going out of your way. Like, flick the switch and then just flick it again. Now you're just holding a button down. I don't think it really makes too much difference, personally.
Also has a Bluetooth input, so you can play audio wirelessly from your mobile device. You can now also
I like the way that you can play mobile phone music. It works especially at like mobile DJ gigs where somebody wants that tune and it's not being able can just get that tune up on YouTube and play it.
record to either the 2 USB-A ports above here. You can also edit your track rating on the unit. In addition to the beat jump pad modes, there are now dedicated beat jump buttons over here, just like on the CDJ 3000s. And while there is a key shift pad mode, you can control your key shifting on each one of your deck controls on the touchscreen. And because it is capable of key shifting, we now also have key sync for instantly key shifting a track to a compatible key with the playing track. With a combination of options for 4-deck playback, new link queue features, and updated club standard layout, Wi-Fi capability for cloud direct play and streaming direct play, built-in SonicLink transmitter, and high-quality 32-bit converters for maximizing sound quality, the XDJ-AZ all-in-one DJ system is here to give you the ultimate all-in-one DJ experience. You can download Rekordbox from rekordbox.com. If you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment below. If you want to find out more about the XDJ-AZ or see more products from Alpha Theta or Pioneer DJ, Be sure to visit our websites alphatheta.com and pioneerdj.com or catch us on our social media channels at PioneerDJ Thanks for watching.
So, did I get it wrong? Well, I think I did get it wrong. So in the stream that I did last week or the week, critical. I was a little bit harsh, saying, you know, in sense. So feel that there is some features that are a bit pointless to me. Some features just don't really make too much sense to me, and some features I just think, you know, make things just a little bit more, I won't say harder, but just a little bit more time consuming. Like, for example, what I was saying earlier about the where you would turn like the crossfader on and off. Like before, there was just a switch above the crossfader, and like you could just switch that switch, and it, you know, it would turn the crossfader on and off. Really, really good for people that, for example, like a lot of people mix and they just use the volume faders because they're not really bothered about the crossfader, but then they might scratch. So just for like that you know, little moments during the set, they might just turn the crossfader on for a couple of minutes while they do a little bit of scratching, and then they turn it off again, and kind of like the settings of your screen, turn it, I just think is a little bit stupid. I think by all means put it in the screen, but I think they still should have kept the switch as well. And you know, I think it's just a bit easier. You know, you just flick the switch and it's off. You don't have to press buttons and go into settings and look at things on the screen. You know, like I could turn the crossfader off with my eyes shut. You know, I couldn't do that on one of these, you know, because I'd have to memorize like what you tap on the screen and where you tap, if that makes sense. And then things like holding the mic down to talk over, I think like it's not bad. Like it's an alright feature, but like what is the real need of it? Like, you know, was it so bad? Like again, just flicking a switch like on and off. Like now we have to hold a now we hold a button down. Like I just think personally, like like as far as features go, like was it really necessary? You know, like would like this piece of equipment of, you know, made hundreds of people not buy it if like you didn't press the button down to basically talk over on the mic, you know? So I think there's a, you know, there's a few features there that just essentially I just think are a little bit pointless, or you have to beat around the bush to do something that on like previous pieces of equipment you would just like do something so simple like flick a switch or press a button. and now like we're going into menu settings, and we're just doing things that essentially just again are just gonna take a little bit more time, as opposed to just flicking a switch. But I think all in all, the system is really good. I'd love to get my hands on one, like just to have a mix on one, just to kind of see what it's like and utilize some of them features and see what some of the features are like. Most definitely. I'd love to try it out and and see how it works in that kind of sense. And I just think that would be like really really good. Being able to being able to connect to streaming services, absolutely wicked. That would be absolutely groundbreaking, really good. However, what you'll have to be wary of is like you will only be able to use that to play released music. So, for example, like me being a bounce DJ, I play a lot of like bounce tracks that have been released on labels like Excite and Bounce Heaven. And as good as them labels are, they give you some banging donk tunes, and it's not like having a massive release on Beatport. It's like our own little niche. It's our own little community. You won't be able to play them tracks through the streaming services. Now, if somewhere like Bounce Heaven, for example, like made it so you could like subscribe to their website and basically like you could play all the tracks that go out on there, and there was a way that you could like make it so like you could use it as a streaming service. I think that would be like a really really cool thing, because you could just go through like the whole library of what's on Bounce Heaven, and you could add your favorites to a playlist, and I think that would work really well. Or if there was a way that you could like, I don't know, you could like just get it to work with a web browser and it would work that way. I don't know, but like for people like myself who play a lot of I guess you could call it illegal bootlegs, or like not really official released bootlegs. We can't go on to Beatport and find them tracks, unfortunately. So for us, we would still have to buy them, and we would still have to put them into Rekordbox. You could do it that way, or you would have to put them onto a stick. But most certainly, if you are playing the latest releases, if you're playing the latest tech house that has been fully released, or any remixes that have had like a full official release, then you will be all good on Beatport. So I think I'm eating my words. Like I say, I was quite crucial and critical about the piece of equipment when we only had the picture. But I definitely feel that I've kind of been proven wrong a bit. There's some really good features. They've gone out of the way. Like I said earlier, I know a lot of people like saying like we could do this on Denon for we've been able to do this on Denon, but again, I just find Denon like a cheaper version. Not saying that they're horrible. Like I've mixed on Denons before, and I don't mind them, but they don't feel like Pioneer. Most definitely, there's some people that say they prefer Denons, and if you do, then that's obviously what you prefer. Like I say, I prefer Pioneer personally. I think Pioneer is absolutely, I think it's the dog's bollocks, and I like the way everything feels and looks, and everything feels strong, and it doesn't look too much like a sci-fi gadget. That's what I've always kind of thought, that kind of like Denon have always kind of looked like something like an out of space gadget, something you'd find in the gadget shop. So yeah, so I wanted to come live. I said I'd update you on the process of this piece of equipment, and I have done exactly that. So all in one system. If you want to find out more information about them, then of course you can just search in XDJ-AZ onto YouTube, and there'll be countless reviews now. People that receive them early, you know, to do reviews on them. They'll have them now, and their videos will be up, and people will be doing performance mixes on them, so you'll get a good idea of what they sound like and what they're all about. So definitely go and check it out for yourselves. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, all of that good stuff, and we'll